folks. Tonight we are live here with the Mr. Shift Racing League here at the Sun Gave All 390, which originally was going to be a 390-mile race here, but due to low driver attendance, we are going to be doing 2 segments of 50 laps instead. So it'll be 100 laps total, as there are only 9 drivers in the field right now, and currently we are sitting in qualifying. And on the top spot right now, we have the 10 of Ken Richardson. It'll be interesting to see, especially with this being Charlotte. I know it's probably a lot like we saw at Talladega, where after running the entire series, especially the NIS here, doing the Coke 600, which I ventured in and did one of those open ones, and was actually trying to lose my B license. Ended up getting 1 1/4 full points of safety, so that's no longer happening. I'm at a 379, but nonetheless, we're still going to run it here, although we're going to severely cut the distance, and we will do 50 laps with a mandatory caution, and then we will do another 50, so it'll be busted into 2 50-lap segments tonight. It'll be interesting, I think, to see how it plays out with 9 cars, and knowing that you get a mandatory caution 50 laps into the race.
And Art, that mandatory caution, I've just been told that it's going to be hit if you want or not.
Oh, up the ante there. So right now it is still Ken Richardson on the pole. Right now, Ken's fastest lap is a 27.613, followed by the 84 of Len McNeese with a 27.637. Then we have the 58 of Kevin Strandberg with a 27.714. Kevin Petty in the 94 with a 27.894. Keith Nelson in that 71 Navy car right there with a 27.995. The 24 of Joe Owen with a 27.994. Glenn Marion in the 11 with a 28.630. Sean Meyer in that 66 machine has yet to lay down a fast lap, along with the 85 of Judd Danielson, as we see right there, rocking the Snickers paint scheme on that Chevy SS. We see him get a little piece of the wall there. So I think these guys have already pretty much put in their laps, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring in the U.S. Army Marching Band, as I have gone through and completely rebuilt a special national anthem. We're going to go ahead and bring those boys out and let it rip. So everybody please stand and remove your hats. All right, that was a beautiful job done, as we are going to be sitting here on the pace lap as the pace car rolls off. Tonight's starting order, looks like our pole sitter apparently, well, it's got things all messed up. We have Len McNeese right now on the pole. everything's all jacked up. Then again, there's only 9 cars, so we pretty much know how everybody is here. So we'll go ahead and get this out of the way. We got Ken Richardson on the pole. Then we have the 84 of Glenn McNeese will be starting second tonight. Row 2 is going to consist of the 58 of Kevin Strandberg and the 94 of Kevin Petty. Row 3, we have the 71 of Keith Nelson. And I do believe that is the 24 of Joe Owen. Row 4 will be Glenn Meering and Judd Danielson. And rounding out the field will be the 11 of Glenn Meering. As the pace car makes its way into turns 3 and 4, it'll be dropping down, and Ken Richardson will lead us here to the start here. Now, once again, this race will be a 100 lapper with a mandatory caution on lap 50. So here we go, get ready to start the race. Pace car's in, green flag is out. We are live here with the Mississippi Racing League. Some gave all 390, even though it will be only 100 laps. Working lap 3 here at Charlotte. Right now, Ken Richardson is still out front. He's got the 84 of Glenn McNeese behind him. The 58 is Kevin Strandberg there in third. You see Kevin Petty making the pass on the 24 of Joe Owen. That right there is...
We have a little bit of difficulty going on here with TeamSpeak. We're trying to get stuff straightened back up. So I'm trying to cover what's going on here. Is the 24 is underneath the 94 right now, the pass.
Battle going on between now the 71 and the 24 as they come into lap 5 here, on lap 6.
looks like the 24 Lee McNess is trying to make a move on the 84 here. Oh, jeez, I read that completely wrong.
That would be Len McNeese. And then the 24 of Joe Owen.
Yeah, I have it backwards.
Now we see the 71 of Keith Nelson all over the back bumper of that 24. He backs off there as they come on turns 1 and 2. Once again, I'm just kind of a little bit disappointed that there's not more drivers. Usually, like when we started off the season at Daytona, it was a huge field and they ran green flag for the entire 160 laps. Talladega, we covered about 60 of the laps, but once again, there was low driver turnout. So we pulled the plug on that broadcast, and now tonight's race is going to be cut down from the original distance to 2 50-lap segments. And right now we are going to be coming to lap 14 of segment number 1 here. And out front is Ken Richardson with a dominating 1.9 second lead so far. Right now we are looking at the battle for second between the 84 of Len McNeese and Joe Owen. Directly behind them is the 71 of Keith Nelson and the 94 of Kevin Petty, rocking the military paint scheme, because after all, this is supposed to be the equivalent of the Coke 600. Now, I don't know how many people actually tuned in to watch the real race, but they did an amazing job saluting our troops. And we were hoping to do the equivalent of that tonight, but it seems that luck is not going to be really on our side. We see the 84 there get a little piece of the wall as he came out of turn 4, nothing serious. That is going to, however, open the door for the 24 to go low as they go through turns 1 and 2. Joe drift up a little bit there, which is going to give a slight advantage to that 84. As I noticed throughout my run through the Coca-Cola 600, that you really wanted to trap the guys down on the bottom line. The middle to high line is definitely where it's at here at Charlotte, and we can see that as there's a wicked bobble out of the 84 coming out of turn 4. That's going to give second place over to the 24 of Joe Owen. Meanwhile, Kevin Petty has gotten around the 71 of Keith Nelson. That'll move him up to 4th spot. Meanwhile, looking out front, the lead is now stretched to a 2.8 second and still growing. The number 10 of Ken Richardson is absolutely checked out. Right now we're focusing on 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And now we see the 24's up high. He's going to lose 1 and potentially 2 spots now, as we see the 84 of Len McNeese has made it around as well. Oh, Kevin Petty almost had it there. Looks like he had a little bit of a bobble there going into turn 1 on the low line. But let's see if he can make things happen here as they run down the backstretch. We see the 24 is going to go down the block. Hopefully, that's not going to open the door too much. We see, look at the run that Kevin gets on that 24. We see the 24 headed down to pit road. That will move the 71 right there of Keith Nelson up in the 3rd spot. Kevin Petty in the 94 still 4th. The 11 of Glenn Meering 5th. Right now, this 24 of Joe Owen being scored in 6th. Kevin Strandberg in the 58 7th, and Sean Meyer in the 66 8th. I'm not a rocket science, but I do believe the 85 might have taken his car behind the wall.
The 24 is coming back out on track. I think he's short pitted where we've cut this race down to 100 laps. I think he can make the rest of the race on that one stop, so he's not going to pit under that caution.
Especially with the option that was given. When the mandatory caution comes out at lap 50, you have the choice to either come down pit road or stay out. So we could be seeing, like Alan just said, a potential strategy move there by the 24 team. As right now, he is only being scored one lap down. He is the first car a lap down, along with the 58 of Kevin Strandberg. Right now, Sean Myers being shown 4 laps down, and once again, I do believe the 85 has taken that machine behind the wall, and they're loading that thing on the hauler.
Yeah, I think that one's on its way out of the tunnel as we speak.
All right, so 8 cars remaining here as we are working lap 25 now. So we are halfway. Next time by, it'll be 25 laps until the mandatory caution comes out at lap 50. And looking at the leader right now, Ken Richardson has a 4.4 second lead over second place right there, the 84 of Len McNeese. There we see the 66 of Sean Meyer. You can see that he is still on track as we see the 58 of Kevin Strandberg. That is 5th position right there, the 58. And 66 there in the mix is not for position. The 94 of Kevin Petty right there on the inside line, however, is. That is going to be the battle for 5th spot right there between the 58 and the 94. As they come through turn 4, we get a good shot from Digger there as they make their way through the quad oval. This time by, it's still going to be Strandberg in 5th and Kevin Petty in 6th right now. We're seeing 3 cars on the lead lap. Joe Owen in the 24 right now is the first car a lap down, so he is sitting right now in the lucky dog spot as we see the 94 get a very, very good run there on the 58 as they came out of turn 2 onto the backstretch.
And the 10 car has come down pit road.
So leader pit road. That will hand the lead over to the 84. As we see, the 84 has also come down pit road too. He is now exiting as well.
Yeah, I think these guys are all going to short pit here and plan to run the race out.
Not to make a stale joke, but Alan, I think he missed a shift there.
Absolutely. So something else to kind of talk about here, and no fault to these guys. As we've found in our own league, it is really hard to hold the league together through the summer months once the weather gets a little bit warmer. People are outside doing stuff instead of being on their computers more. League racing, to me, is more of a fall and winter sport for us guys that do a lot of league racing. So it's really hard to try to keep a league rolling through the summer months, keep your car count up.
I can definitely attest to that because, I mean, the long-standing slogan is a happy wife is a happy life. And if you're pissing off the old lady by sitting around racing when you should be out there with the kids playing and enjoying the summer weather out, even though it doesn't really feel like summer here. It only got up to 87 degrees, and hell, we're about to be in June here. We should be close to 100 degrees here in middle Tennessee, but still, it's beautiful weather to be out there enjoying everything, soak it in, swim in. Hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. And we got David Washington over in live chat. What's going on, David? How you been doing?
And I don't want to hear about you talking about your 80-degree weather, okay? I barely broke 62 today.
Hey, I would send that weather down here. I would love to have some 62-degree weather. Because down here, it's not the heat that gets you, it's the humidity. So right now, the race lead is being held by the 24 of Joe Owen. He's got an 8-second lead over second place, the 10 of Ken Richardson. And right there, the 58 of Kevin Strandberg. He is our third place car. Kevin Petty in the 94 fourth. 71 of Keith Nelson fifth. The 84 of Glenn McNeese sixth. Glenn Marion in the 11th, seventh. That's the last car in the lead lap. And then in eighth place, we have the 66 of Sean Meyer. So we'll be creeping ever closely to the mandatory caution on lap 50 to kind of even things up here. We're supposed to have some thunderstorms roll through here later tonight. That's kind of been the going theme ever since we had that really warm winter. We had a very abnormally above average winter, and that's translated over into spring. We've had an extremely wet spring. Temperatures have been down. Usually, like I said, we're easily in the 90s already with at least a 70% humidity, so the heat indexes are usually really high, but so far this year we're not seeing it, so I think Mother Nature's kind of confused after winter came around, but nonetheless, I'm not really going to complain too much about it not being super hot because most of the work that I do is all outside, so.
David's making fun of me over in chat.
I make fun of him all the time. Feel free to do it, David. Alan's the punching bag over at Diehard. Well, one of them. James is another one, and so is Cody and Josue.
There goes Alan Broken.
Yep.
As the 10 of Ken Richardson is just tearing up the track here. He came out of pits with over a 9-second deficit. He's got that down to almost 5 seconds. And he is just on a rail.
I think right now he needs to change his car number to 78 because he's driving a lot like Martin Truex right now did in the 600 there in the final stage. That was a great race to watch. It was a shame for Chase Elliott to get knocked out that early when Jeffrey Earnhardt blew the motor coming down the backstretch into turn 3, and Elliott unfortunately had a piece of the Earnhardt car go through his oil cooler, and by the time he made it around to the quad oval, the left front was completely on fire. He was dropping oil on the track, and unfortunately Brad Keselowski got caught up in the oil and absolutely pile drove the rear end of the 24, destroying both cars. And word is now the 66 has retired his car behind the wall. They'll be loading that car up on the hauler as well. So we will have 7 cars remaining in this race. As right now we see the battle is going on for third spot. The 58 of Kevin Strandberg is being challenged by the 71 of Keith Nelson there on the outside. I do believe Keith is going to get that fairly easy. As I've said, the inside here is really not too beneficial, as I definitely saw during the Coke 600 that I ran. If you want to pass somebody, you want to trap them down on the low line. You just got so much more momentum that you can carry into the corner, and you stay middle to upper groove on exit. You can just rock it right out of the corner. But we see the 94 of Kevin Petty. He's able to actually run that bottom line pretty well and close the gap there. As we see Keith Nelson, obviously. Is Keith on pressure tires? Because, I mean, he just absolutely blew by the 58.
So anyway, what do you think about them dumping the drift juice up there on the top lane?
It definitely made for some interesting racing. I heard a lot of driver chatter saying that about the first 15 laps, it was actually very slick up there. And the drivers are actually reporting that they could see the tire marks from the cars that have driven in it, because I know a lot of guys got up there very early in the race, Kyle Busch being one of them, to experiment with that traction, whatever the hell you want to call it, the traction adhesive that they put down on that middle groove to try and open up multi-lane racing. it definitely proved a little bit tricky during the beginning, but once, I think what really benefited the race the most was having that 2+ hour rain delay, because it washed all the rubber off of the lower groove, and with that traction adhesive not being water soluble, that stayed on the track, so it kind of forced everybody to run in that middle line until people were brave enough to get down there on the low line and run it and actually break it back in. But we saw Kyle Busch claim the first segment, Martin Truex got the second, Denny Hamlin got the third, and then it came down to a battle of fuel mileage. We saw Jimmy Johnson in the 48. He ran out of gas with 2 laps to go, which it was Jimmy Johnson. It was Jimmy Johnson, Austin Dillon, and Ryan Newman staying out on a fuel strategy. As right now we are watching the battle for the lead. The 10 of Ken Richardson is trying to get around the 24 of Joe Owen, but we saw that there's a lot of different pit strategies that played out after the rain delay at Charlotte, and unfortunately Johnson ran out of gas. Well, unfortunately I say that, but I can't stand Jimmy Johnson, so I was tickled to death to see him run out with 2 laps to go. And it was actually really nice seeing the number 3 back in victory lane, and not to mention that's Austin Dillon's first official NASCAR win, and he won it at the longest race of the season. So hats off to the number 3 team for Richard Childress Motorsports. I was really banking on Martin Truex because he was absolutely destroying Jimmy Johnson's lap times there, but unfortunately he used up his car and he got passed by Kyle Busch for second, so he ended up finishing third. I believe Kyle Busch second, and Austin Dillon, when he crossed the line, he went to start doing burnouts, and as soon as he whipped that car around, it ran out of fuel, and they had to push that number 3 to victory lane. But still, nonetheless, nice to see Austin Dillon finally get a win. He's started on pole the Daytona 500. He's been in contention to win races. He just hasn't been able to capitalize on it, and finally, as we saw on Sunday night, he brought home the checkered flag here at the 600. So that's got to be a really good feeling, and hopefully some motivation, because that does right now lock Austin Dillon in the actual chase. But as we see out front, Ken Richardson has made it past Joe Owen and is now stretching it out to almost a 2-second lead.
I just heard over the radio we got 5 laps till our mandatory caution.
Competition caution, gotta love them. Right now we are watching the battle for 6th spot. See the 11 there of Glenn Merring. He's trying to get around the 58 of Kevin Strandberg. That is going to be for 6th spot. Ahead of him we have the 84 of Len McNeese in 5th, Kevin Fetty 4th, Keith Nelson 3rd, Joe Owen 2nd, and out front it is Ken Richardson. We see Glenn trying to use that bottom line to his advantage there, coming out of 4. Ooh, he gets a little loose. He's going to put 2 tires in the grass. Good save there. Good call by the 11. Backing off. That got him a little bit loose, which opened up the gap. But the good news is we did not see either car go around, which would, well, it would have brought the caution out anyways, which would probably have negated the competition caution. As we see now the 11 pulling up to the side of the 58. He's going to try and make that pass complete as they come out of 4, and he's going to do so. So that will move Glenn Merring up to 6th as we are now on coming to lap 50. So once they hit lap 50, it will be 1 lap till the competition caution comes out.
And that was my mistake. The 58 did not actually touch the wall. He just slid the car sideways there, and the tail just missed the wall.
Still good reaction there by the 11. He got a little bit squirrely as we see the 84 is going to take it down pit road, as we will be coming to the mandatory caution here at lap 51. So there we go. There's the mandatory caution. That is not a wreck. That is the competition caution here. So we have reached the halfway point of the race. All right, now let's go ahead and go up to the leader, as we're going to see the 84 is going to be able to go around the pace car here. So we're going to let the field collect up here at the pace car, which will probably be on the back stretch, as we see the 10 of Ken Richardson right there. And while they are on their competition caution, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will return to the action as they get ready to start the second and final segment here. All right, folks, we are back, and we see pit stops are underway here. So you see right there, the 84. There's the 10 of Ken Richardson is going to make his way off of pit road. My guess is these guys are probably going to bring it down and try and keep that car packed as full of fuel as possible, as we will have plenty of time to go here. As always, these guys do have one quick repair, so maybe there might have been a couple wall scrapes, and with only 7 cars out of the 9 that started, what better time than just to go ahead and burn up that one quick repair, even if it's just a minor amount of damage. That will, according to the scoring loop, it's going to show the 24 as the race leader, so the 84 will be taking the free pass here once the lights do go out on the pace car, as we take a good look at the Fury Motorsports number 24 Chevy SS. Alright, so once the lights on the pace car do go out, look for that 84 to make his way past the pace cars. He will get the free pass and join the tail end of the field, which is only going to put him back to 7th spot, but that'll put him back on the lead lap and back into contention. Alright, so the lights on the pace car are out. The field is doubled back up. The 24 here of Joe Owen with Fury Motorsports is going to lead us into I think, you know what this calls for, Alan? I think this is going to be a crank it up restart. So our running order is going to be the 24 of Joe Owen out front, the 71 of Keith Nelson restarting second, Glenn Marion in 11th, third, the 10 of Ken Richardson fourth, 94 of
As
Kevin
the
Petty.
pace car drops on off here, we're going to get the jump. The 24 is going to take off.
And we are in full on crank it up.
And Joe Owen's going to lead him down into turn 1 out of turn 2.
We get this beautiful shot here of the backstretch of the cars coming down double file. Now we see the 71 of Keith Nelson. He's going to try and get up to the back bumper of that 24. Ride on board there for a split second with our race leader, the 24, from the gearbox position looking out, which is actually the rear TV panel. Now we're riding in cockpit with the 10 of Ken Richardson. Absolutely love this crank it up camera. Now we're riding on the nose of the 10. So now the pressure is definitely on. It's who's going to be able to outlast who to bring home the checkered flag tonight, as they will be coming up on 40 laps to go here in a couple laps.
And as we see right now, the 10 of Ken Richardson is going to start making his move back, march towards the front here, as he's going to challenge the 71 of Keith Nelson.
Oh, he's definitely putting the screws to that 71 machine. Right now, I think, as much as Ken is racing, I think right now he's still going to ride just a little bit. It's a little bit too early to go just yet. I think he's the strategy, because we've seen what Ken does a lot. He kind of has a tendency, he'll sit down and he'll ride back, and right now he's giving the 24 that little bit of pressure to stay out there and maintain the front, as he's got the 71 of Keith Nelson behind him. And I think right now, for the meantime, well, as I say that, we see the 10 start to look low there on the 71. So here we go. This is going to be for second place. Ken Richardson on the inside, Keith Nelson on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at, what, 39 to go? Ken's not going to stay back there right tonight. I think he's going to push the outside, see how far he can walk the field.
I don't doubt it. As we see, he's not quite able to make the pass yet on the 71. As we see the 71 using the Larson line there coming out of 4. That's going to give the spot to Ken Richardson. So move him up to second. Now he's going to start laying the wood to the 24 here. I don't know what that 10 team did during that pit stop, but they really woke up that car. As right now, that thing is definitely dialed in, as he is maintaining a steady pace behind the 24 of Joe Owen. See, there's a bit of a gap from third to fourth. So right now, I think we'll keep our attention fixated here on the front 3, as we see now 10's looking on the inside as they go into turn 1 here. Chevy versus Ford as they come up at turn 2. Right now, they're still door to door as they come down the backstretch into turn 3. We're going to see the 10 drop back in behind the 24. So not going to happen this time. And now we see the 71 of Keith Nelson. He's able to get on the back bumper of that 10 machine, and he's going to try to do a crossover as we make through the quad oval here, and we'll be now on lap 65.
I think these guys need some grip techs up there on the top line.
I don't know. It seems that they're running really good up there in that middle groove.
Maybe iRacing took something before we raced.
Now, come on. They can't even fix the damage model on the truck. Why would they be so kind of to throw on some grip? Looks like the 71 that time off before had a little bit of a bobble in the rear end. Might have been a little bit loose coming off the corner. But right now, it's still the 24 with a 0.2 of a second lead, but it's going to come under fire by that Arctic Cat racing machine of Ken Richardson. So we're approaching 30 laps to go here.
As Ken's going to put another charge on that 24 car.
He's got the run going on in the backstretch. See if he can make it happen here in 3 and 4 as they are door to door. Ken's got to back off a little bit, but then he's able to pick up a little bit of ground. But I still think that outside line's a little bit faster than the inside. The 24 is going to lead that lap again, but it's not over yet because Ken's going to dive it down again here in 1 and 2 and try and take the lead as they come off of 2. And he's going to do so. So hand your lead back over to the 10 of Ken Richardson in that Arctic Cat Ford Fusion.
Yeah, it's really, I don't know, to me it seems like it's really hard to get down on that low line in 3 and 4 and make a pass. But you can do it in 1 and 2, get down low, get under that bump, and really get back on the throttle and roll up out of the corner once you quit.
I can only speak from the open side because I ran the pit setup with only a few minor tweaks done to it through the race by one of our own Diehard's own Mike Major. He was crew chiefing for me there. He just made a couple tire pressure adjustments, track bar and all that just to get me a little bit more stable on the long run because the tires do fall off pretty good here. But through 1 and 2, you can go straight down to that white line, apex it, and then bring it right out to the wall on exit of 2. 3 and 4 is a little bit more tricky. It tends to want to push up, so you kind of got to let off a little bit early in the corner. Let the car pretty much roll neutral to center off, and then you can get back into the throttle as you're coming out of 4. So we see the 24 is going to come down pit road, so this would be a strategy call. Yes, it was. It'll be interesting to see what the 24 team here takes. Oh, he's got some damage on the back of that car, so he might have been a little bit more than we thought because he's got a pretty good wedgie there on the back of that 24 car. We see the 84 as well. And we see the quick fix in full effect. That rear end got popped back out. He's down and away, 4 tires and fuel. All right, so now we are looking at the battle for 4th spot. It's currently being held by the 58 of Kevin Strandberg. Kevin Petty right there in the 94 is going to come down pit road along with the 11 of Glenn Meering. So here we go. Under 30 laps to go. We're going to see the final pit stops happening here. Let's see whose strategy is going to play out the best.
I'm a little surprised that these guys are pitting halfway through the segment like that. I'm pretty sure you could have made it on fuel.
You can definitely make it on fuel, but I'm telling you right now, tires, it's tires, tires, tires. It may be a night race and there's more grip, but I'm telling you, this track absolutely eats tires for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, no problem. I think, see, I was losing on average about 1 second every 15 laps that I was driving the absolute dog crap out of my car. So tires definitely are playing a big factor here, and I think that's what all these drivers are doing, is they're coming down. Not only are they taking fuel to load the car down, but most importantly, they're putting a fresh set of sneakers on that car, so they've got a better chance of pulling it back up. So out front right now, it is the 10 of Ken Richardson with a 4.5 second lead over new second place, the 58 of Kevin Strandberg.
Yeah, but my question, oh, there comes the 10. I was going to say, I didn't know if he was going to come down or not.
He'd be a sitting duck if he did not come down and take tires. So that will hand the lead over to the 58 of Kevin Strandberg. You can be fast, but when you're up against cars that have about 15, 20 laps less of use on them, tire-wise, you're definitely gonna see what we saw with Martin Truex when he came down and pitted versus Johnson, Newman, and Dillon when they opted to stay out of the fuel strategy run. As we're seeing right now, Kevin Fetty's made the move on the 11 of Glenn Meering. That's going to put Kevin up to 4th.
So it looks like Kevin Richardson had a little bit of trouble getting on pit road there. He looks like he had a little bit too much rear brake in the car, and when he come down off the track, get onto the binders, the back end steps out on him a little bit. He was able to recover it without hitting anything, but it cost him quite a bit of time.
Now that will drop him down to 7th spot, as right now out front it appears that Joe Owen, I think we need to go back up to the front now because we got a battle for the lead going on. Right now we see the 24 of Joe Owen has made his way around the 58 of Kevin Strandberg. Now it looks like Strandberg's coming down pit road because now we've got the 94 of Kevin Fetty being scored in 2nd and the 11 of Glenn Meering in 3rd. So now step that interval up to 8.6 seconds. That 24 car right now is sitting exactly where he wants to be. I think this is definitely going to come down to a strategy. And actually, I think that competition caution, or as we'll call it, the first segment, I think that was actually the smartest thing to do here. And might possibly, for the rest of the remainder of the season of the league, that might actually be a very viable option to keep more cars on the track, is to break this all the races up into segments. That way, everybody's got a chance to regroup, and there's no runaway leader and all that stuff. I think that might actually benefit these guys, because I know they've been struggling with driver attendance for about the past 3 or 4 races. We've actually taken a couple weeks off because there was low attendance. We held some recruitment races, but honestly, I think right now, if this was to be put in the same format as Monster Energy has done with the actual Cup Series, I think that might heavily play in favor for Mr. Shift here. This is actually looking a lot like the actual Coke 600.
With a few less cars, but
well, a lot less cars, but still the same thing is playing out right now. We had Jimmy Johnson, who had over a 15-second lead over Martin Truex, and we saw how fast that gap closed. So now we're kind of seeing almost the same thing. And it looks like the 84 of Len McNeese has opted to take that 84 machine behind the wall. So now it's going to be down to 6 cars here, as we will be taking a lap 83 here this time at the stripe. So we're getting ever closer here as we're in the final stage and under 20 laps to go here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I was kind of looking forward to actually running a 3/4 length race here, and had we had the driver turnout, we would have had the big race. But honestly, I'm kind of digging this 50-50 thing here. It's actually played out for some good racing. We're seeing that interval starting to shrink now, though, just exactly like Truex was doing to Johnson. It was over 7 seconds. It's now down to a 6.6. We're going to actually ride on board here with our leader here and see what he's doing in the corners as far as throttle and all, and see if he's doing any throttle management. Yep, he's letting out of the gas before you go over the hump there in turn 1, as that is notorious for making cars very, very upset. So let's see what he does here in 3. about midpoint of 3 and 4, he's off the throttle to about halfway through the turns, and he gets right back into the gas. But our gap has shrunk down now to 5.9 seconds as we still have 15 laps to go, or 16 laps to go here. No, 15. It'll be 14 this time by. Let's go ahead and look at the back. We can see nothing but clear track behind the 24. 14 laps remaining here. Now we can see the 94 of Kevin Petty as he just now takes the stripe. Gap's down to a 5.5. You can hear those tires screeching a little bit. Now we're going to go in cockpit with the 94 of Kevin Petty. Here Kevin feathering it there through the corners. It's brought it down to, it was a 5.4, now it's creeping back up to just over a 5.5. $11 laps remaining here at Charlotte. Does Kevin Petty have enough time to reel in that 5.3 second gap? As we can see up front, that first car is your race leader, the 24 of Joe Owen. We can definitely hear Kevin is feathering that throttle a lot. So we're going to go ahead and look at it, the rear end of his car. So behind him, we have the 58 of Kevin Strandberg, who's slowly reeling it in as we're under 10 to go here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Right now, Joe Owen in the 24 has a 5.3 second lead. Kevin Petty's trying to eat into that. But what we're seeing here now is we might see a battle here for second position before the race is over, because that 58 is kind of moving. He's brought it down to a 1.4 and it's still closing.
Maybe, or it might come down to it, but I almost don't know if he's got quite enough time.
I don't know.
It's going to be close.
So we're starting to see that 58 a lot closer here from this rear chase cam now as they go into turn 3. That 58's getting closer and closer. He's brought it down to a 1.2 and he's still reeling in that 94 car.
Yeah, but the question is, he has enough to get there, but does he have enough time to get by?
Well, we've got 6 laps to go, or 7 laps right now. So it'll be 6 laps to go at the stripe. Damn it, Alan, you broke me. Art is definitely broken tonight. Usually I'm not. So now we see the gap is closed down to just under a second. It's down to 9/10. So we see that 58 is creeping ever closer to the back end of that 94 machine.
Here, kitty, 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 kitty.
Now we're going to jump around and we're going to go in cockpit with the 58 of Kevin Strandberg as he tries to chase down second spot. Be 5 laps to go this time at the stripe. I definitely think right now he's got enough to get up there and pass Kevin, but is Kevin going to make it easy for him to pass? I wouldn't.
Nor would I.
I'd make sure my car was 3 lanes wide. No, he's going to go to the top side and let the 58 by. So that'll give second spot over to the 58 of Kevin Strandberg, who now is going to have a 5.7 second deficit, which is not going to be enough because it'll be 3 laps to go next time by when the 24 takes the line. Meanwhile, as we look back out front, our breakaway race leader right now, he's got 3 laps left with a 5.2 second lead. Right now, I think he could pretty much just kind of take it fairly easy. We don't really see the gap shrinking that much, so I think it's pretty safe to say that right now, as long as the 24 car does not make a mistake within these next 2 laps, he's definitely got this thing sealed up, as even though the interval has dropped to 4.9 and it's steadily reeling in. It's definitely not going to be enough unless something drastic happens with that 24 with these next 2 laps here. So as he makes his way down the backstretch, he will be taking the white flag as he crosses the line. Be 4 more corners for that 24 Fury Motorsports machine to make it around this track to bring home the victory. As he crosses the line, the white flag is out. 4 more corners to go. I know it says 260, but this is only 100 laps tonight, so this is the last lap right here. 2 more corners, and he's back up to a 5-second lead over the second place car of Kevin Strandberg. He hauls it out of turn 4 for the last time. 24 Joe Owen's going to go ahead and bring home the checkered flag here. That's game, set, and match. He's going to end that one with over a 5-second lead. So definitely did come in the strategy.
I had picked the 10 to win, Art. I thought the 10 had it in the bag, though, as strong that he started, and he just faded, I guess.
It's all about strategy, man. Tires are key here, and having the right pit call, knowing when to come down, when not to. I think that 24, he had it planned, and it was very well executed. As we see, he's gonna bring home the W's. Victory celebrations are underway in the 24 campus. He's gonna burn it down here. He's got plenty of fuel to do it.
You know, it was really interesting to see, though. I mean, I didn't think the 10 stayed out too long, but, unfortunately, it cost him the race.
That it did. Meanwhile, we're riding in cockpit with our race winner. He's going to whip it around. Let's see what he's going to do. He's going to run the Legends course in reverse through the grass, get to his pit stall. That is, once again, your race winner, so... So we're going to go ahead and we're going to bust out the results.
Do you want us to go ahead and try to interview Joe, or what do we want to do here, Kevin?
Yeah, let me tell him that you're ready to go.
Yeah, well, we can jump up to the default channel, so.
Let me turn you up. I couldn't hardly hear you. Yeah, I do. Oh, it feels wonderful, man. It was a good, fun race. I figured that, what I understand, Ken had a little misfortune with speeding on pit road or something like that, that which put him behind the ball a little bit. And I figured it was going to come down to me and him kind of battling right there at the end. But no, it was real good. Yeah, it was a little bit of luck on my side. I was sitting there thinking, when should I pit? And I was sitting there running, and just the way the tires were feeling, I figured I'd short pit them and make it up on the track with the new tires and try to battle it out at near the end. But yeah, it worked out good for me. Uh, Basically around lap 17, 18, it really started falling off real bad. And then whenever it got to lap 20, that's why I made up my mind to come in around lap 20, 25, and make it up on the track. I mean, the front tires, one and two wasn't bad, but going coming out of four, I mean, it was just like a snowplow pushing, but it fell off right bad then. Yeah, I appreciate it, y'all. It was real fun. Thank you, sir, and appreciate all y'all do up there in the booth, and Kevin Fetty for putting this on, and Fury Motorsports. Take care.
That's going to do it for us tonight here at Charlotte Motor Speedway with Mischief Racing League. Once again, coming home with the lead and the win will be the 24 of Joe Owen. Of course, with IRTVO and this not being changed from the original thing, the scoring order is going to be all screwed up. Alan, if you've got a more correct version of it, feel free to rip through the field as to where everybody scored out tonight. Obviously, we know the 24 brought it home first. I believe the 58 second, the 94 third. After that, it's probably going to be your guess. Well, it appears that Alan is broken. Oh, no. No, Alan seems to be broken, and unfortunately, like I said, we didn't have the biggest driver turnout here. Didn't have the biggest driver turnout.
You guys get it wrapped up?
So tonight we brought everything home here, and unfortunately, a little bit of technical difficulties here at the end. The scoring thing's all messed up because we did not do the complete race, but we do know the 24 brought it home first. The 58 will be second, the 94 third, and then Alan's going to try and figure out the rest of the field here.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out what your end scoring was because it.
Yeah, it's all messed up on our TBO.
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the replay to determine the points anyway, so it's hard to say.
All right.
Guys, I appreciate you broadcasting these little things.
You know, we don't mind.
It's our pleasure.
I can only imagine, as frustrating it is for me, it has to be just that difficult for you guys to try to, keep interest in 5 cars running around a 1.5-mile track.
Oh, we try to keep it interesting. We talk about other stuff too, so.
Well, that's fantastic. We'll go with that.
And the one thing that we did notice that even though there was a low car count, actually pulling out that mandatory caution, I think that might be something that would appeal to the drivers, is actually running these races like Monster Energy is doing the Cup Series, breaking it into segments. That way it's not just one long race, even though we do love the long green flag racing. I think if we bust it up into segments, it'd kind of balance everything out, get more people back on the lead lap. Because I think as a driver standpoint, if they get in a long race and they're down 4 or 5 laps, they really just want to pull that car behind the wall and just end the race. And if I think the segments were brought out, it would give them a chance to probably get leveled back out and have more of a chance to get out there and battle it for more position. But once again, I think all of us really expected a lot more drivers to show up for Charlotte, but it still turned out to be a great race, knocking it down to 100 and having it broken into 2 segments. So, I mean, it did play out for some good racing. We saw great strategy and a good breakaway win there at the end, all because of a pit strategy.
Are you still live?
Yeah, we're still live. We might as well discuss some good stuff right now. This is like the post-race show on Fox.
All right.
Keep it rolling, man, because it's not cheap to pay for these broadcasts, so you got to pack it as full as you can to make sure that you get your money's worth out of it. That's what I'm about.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I brought it up to the drivers what they wanted to do, because I was pretty sure none of them wanted to run 260 laps with 8 or 9 drivers on the track. And it was suggested 100 laps, and I came up with the caution. I think it turned out extremely well. I'm not sure with an extra 130 laps we would have gotten any more action than we ended up with what we actually had.
No.
I couldn't agree any more. I mean, breaking that down and having the competition caution on lap 50 was definitely the right call to do, because it got and especially the way that you gave the drivers the option to either pit or stay out. That definitely led for more strategy calls, and as we saw, that strategy definitely won the race tonight.
Yeah, I think that's something we have to look hard at, moving forward, as far as, I don't know, maybe keeping the races short, but doing the stages like in the real world. So it seemed to work out well tonight, at least.
And Alan had pointed out during the broadcast too that summer months, it's very, very hard running a league to keep the car count up in the summer months, because we know a lot of people are, as the weather gets warmer, the pools start opening and the wife start complaining that you're sitting in front of a computer when you could be outside with the kids and doing stuff, that we see the driver count go down a lot during the summer, but then it comes back in full effect in the fall and the winter, because obviously as the days get shorter, it gets colder outside, we're more inclined to sit here and run a full 400 lap race with no hesitation, versus now where we're about to crest into June. It's definitely a challenge keeping the car count up, but I think that if bringing it up with all the other drivers and seeing if they'd agree with breaking it into segments like Monster Energy did, if that would entice more people to come in, I think that would probably boost the car count, and it definitely would one up the competition, because the leaders would definitely have to change their strategies, knowing that once they reach the end of a segment, they have to either pit or stay out, and that's going to ultimately determine. It's going to be more so of a strategy race than it's going to be, all right, who's the fastest guy out here.
That's exactly right. And it was interesting watching Joe. I like to say congrats to him. It was interesting watching Joe. He came in with like 22 laps into that first stage and got tires and almost pulled out the win there at the end of the first stage. When he came in the second stage, he came in a full 30 or 31 laps before the end. And it'd be interesting to have seen what would happen if Ken hadn't have been busted speeding on pit road. Those two were obviously the class of the field, but I think the strategy that Joe employed was absolutely brilliant.
So that's what put him so far back, was he got busted for speeding. I heard him say
well,
he
it's
got
because
in
he
hot,
locked
but...
up the brakes. He had too much rear brake bias in that Ford Fusion when he came down pit road, and he got busted for speeding, which sometimes I like to go over there and punch the NASCAR officials in the pit row hauler in the face a few times, but it is what it is. And when it comes down to brake bias like that, it's out of your hands. But it definitely made for a lot more interesting racing, and I was actually surprised to see him come down that early, and then at the end to have that big of a lead at the checkered flag. That was just absolutely a brilliant move, and it was exactly reminiscent of what we saw Martin Truex do in the actual 600. So I think it would definitely really spice the racing up and make the drivers have to concentrate more on getting in and off pit road as safe and as fast as possible, but not getting busted for speeding. And then also the fact of having segment winners too. That would also probably boost the driver's confidence too. As we saw in the actual 600, we had 4 different winners of the segments. Kyle Busch won the first. It was Truex for the second, Denny Hamlin the third, and obviously Austin Dillon brought it home in victory lane.
That's a good point. Fantastic point.
So, Kevin, any final words before we let everybody loose for the night?
No, I just want to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. Actually, first and foremost, with it being the Memorial Day race at Charlotte, I want to thank all those who are serving, have served, those who paid the ultimate price for our freedoms, and their families. You know, Memorial Day is a day to remember them more than, swimming pools and barbecues. So my respect to those and their families. We thank you for your service.
That's exactly what I said, because a friend of mine had posted something up on Facebook about, he was wondering how many people actually remembered what Memorial Day was actually all about, and I I actually said pretty much about exactly the same thing. Sadly, most people these days just think of it as a 3-day weekend, a chance to get wasted, go swimming, grill out, watch a race, not have to go to work on Monday, and they've lost the true meaning of what Memorial Day is all about, and it is honoring those who have served and, like you said, have paid the ultimate price so that we can sit here and play around on racing simulators and live in undoubtedly one of the greatest countries on the earth right here. And it's all down to our troops. And I've always been a strong proponent. If you don't stand behind your troops, feel free to stand in front of them.
I think that's perfectly said.
All right, so I think that should wrap us up here tonight. It was a great race overall. So for everybody here at Mr. Shift Racing and Diehard Racing, thanks to everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.